Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for an exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are concluding part four, the last installment of the book,
Everyone culture.
and everyone culture, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been talking about this book, and the reflection from this book for the span of last week to this week. So I think it's fitting to conclude this with a strong finish.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's a great book. I highly recommend it if you enjoy culture, if you enjoy, the business world and enjoy
Enjoy,
understanding.
enjoying yourself.
Yeah, enjoy yourself. Yeah, exactly. The part four is it's called a better me plus a better you equals a better us. And so this just a quick recap. This book's about deliberately developmental organizations and the cultures that they build.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's an everyone culture, right? So they're how to become a deliberately developmental organization, how to do what these companies are doing and why they do what they're doing, right? Because at the end of the day, I guess I'll explain. So like deliberately developmental organizations, you can't become, in my opinion, a deliberately developmental organization unless you first aren't willing to be a deliberately developmental person yourself, individual, right? So this wasn't a term in the book, but I'm coining a new term here. Instead of DDO, we're going to call them DDIs, right? So deliberately developmental individuals. This is the most important factor of all this stuff is like it doesn't matter if you walked into a company like Bridgewater or NextJump or the other company they talk about in this book. If you're not willing to put in the work yourself, or Clubany, right? Like in particular, for our sake, like we've had people that have said they wanted to do what we're trying to do, and we
Mm-hmm.
gave them a shot, and they weren't deliberately developmental individuals. And I don't mean that to be a slight on them. I don't mean that to be negative or anything. They just aren't somebody that really wanted to put in the work on themselves, right? So like we have a motto that is that we've adopted from people over time, but it's work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? Like that is what a deliberately developmental individual does. It always begins and ends with you. Like if you don't want this, like no one else is going to want it for you. Even God like doesn't give a shit, if you don't want it. You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to try to be a person that is deliberately trying to develop and to grow yourself, then no one else is going to want that more for you. Like no one is going to do this for you. It doesn't matter if you join an organization, you're around a group of other people. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to change anything, right? So to become a deliberately developmental individual, though, if you do want to become that, you got to be willing to commit to a lifetime of daily focus around living your personal values and having, being comfortable with being uncomfortable and enduring through it all, right? Like and manufacturing instability in your life, or sorry,
Control,
controlling
control.
controlled instability, creating controlled instability within your life,
Mm-hmm.
and all the other facets that go into being a deliberately developmental individual. And then but I think the key word to focus on here is deliberately. Like you have to deliberately make it happen. It is not going to just naturally happen. Like you have to like put a focus on this stuff if you want it to have an impact in your life at all. Now
Mm-hmm.
there's things that can help along the way. Your values are the biggest thing. That is your compass, right? That can help guide you of how to become a deliberately developmental individual. And once you started that, you start to realize you follow your values and they illuminate the path forward, and you start to realize how fun and rewarding this is as you embark on this journey of trying to become a deliberately developmental individual. Now the fun thing is once you start on this journey, that what we've discovered is all of a sudden you magically start to link up with other deliberately developmental individuals, because that's what happens. Now you end up you get attracted to other people that are attracted to the same stuff that you want. From there, then you start to link up, and now you're in a deliberately developmental organization, right? Like that's really how this all works. But it always starts
Mm-hmm.
and begins and ends with you. So NextJump, one of the companies they talk about in this book, has a motto that says a better me plus a better you equals a better us, right? And I really truly believe that's like, like if you and I came to this every single night, Like, and you weren't trying to be a deliberately developmental individual, and I wasn't trying to be a deliberately developmental individual, like, or vice versa. One of us was and one of us wasn't. Like you wouldn't want to. Okay, I don't want to be mean at all, but like Blake, right? Like, is Blake trying to be a deliberately developmental individual? I would say probably not. I think he wants to, in theory, a lot of times, but like he doesn't join us in these conversations anymore. And I'm not saying that's a slight on him. He's got other there's nothing wrong with whatever Blake is doing or whatever Blake wants to do. Like, that's not what I'm saying. He just doesn't. He doesn't want to be a part of this deliberately developmental organization, I guess, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. He's still a great person. I still love him to death. Still talk to him regularly. Like, but it's just, this is what it is, right? But when you are willing to put in the work on yourself, and I am willing to put in the work on ourselves, we become better together, and then that's when the real magic starts happening. That's when meaningful work and meaningful relationships connect together, and then all of a sudden, you have an explosive lightning in a bottle culture growing and all that other good stuff, right? So yeah, that's the final reflection for this. Better me plus a better you equals better us. Love to get your thoughts.
Right. I think the first thing I have to say is that, a better me plus a better you gotta be equal a better us.
A better. Fine. Fair enough.
Because I don't know, it's just being technical. But
Yeah.
I think you're right in terms of the DDI. I think DDI is the key to have this culture, have this DDO, the deliberate organization. Without the individual, the organization isn't much,
Worthless, yeah.
But I think, that to kind of like, these are the core elements of makes up a great culture. It is the individual aligned with their core values. And when I say aligned, mean you have to be authentically aligned, and you have to be authentic like yourself. And I think this is the problem I see. And like you say, regarding Blake and many other people that have come to Company, there is nothing that I think is to ding on them and on these things. It's just that they haven't got to the point where they can understand what we're saying, because this is the struggle I have been, I guess, marinating in my head for many years, which is, if I had a time machine and I can go back to when I was 20 years old and tell my younger self to be a deliberate DDI, I could not find a way to tell him, because for that younger True, he says, yes, my core values is to eat the fucking frog. So that's what I'm doing, because that is what he truly believes. And I think Blake is in the same boat as my younger self, because the thing is, if you're working on something that isn't really yourself, you thought it was yourself, you were told this is who you are, and you embrace it, but embracing the wrong, the wrong identity is difficult. So imagine that, hey, a lion, when it was born, he haven't seen his mom, he got lost, but the ducks, comes in and become his mother and show him around and give him food, whatever. He thinks he's a duck, but he cannot be a duck because his identity from the natural, patterns of his DNA isn't make him a duck. He cannot become a duck, even though he wants to be a duck. But because the environment forces him to think like he's a duck, so therefore he has this identity crisis. And many of us today have the same problem, is we have this identity crisis, because I can also guarantee you, before you had the atomic bomb with Amelia, you are going to be so headstrong because of your characteristic and your core values of challenge. You will not even let me speak to you about, hey, there is more to life than just go and hustle and bustle and grind and do grit and whatever you want. And so you won't even give me a time of day.
No.
Right?
No, I mean, so not at all. My mind would have been pretty set, made
right.
up.
And so the thing, why is that? Because you truly believe what you were told. You truly believe that I need to work hard at something. I need to go.
Really, I need to go get an investor. I need to go get VC capital. I need to go get.
But
I need to have an MVP.
where did that come
I need to
from?
go. I mean, it came from everybody. Like, I mean,
It comes from your
everything that I
surrounding,
read. Yeah,
right?
right.
It's
Yeah.
around
Like,
surrounding. It comes
the
from
game of VC investors. They made a game, you know, and they said, this is the rules of this game. And I said, okay, fine. I want that, you know, like, and I want to play in that game. Like, I'll go follow your rules. I'll go do everything you want me to do. And I didn't even realize the games that I was playing, you know, like that's the thing.
that's
Like,
this is what we were saying
yeah,
before. Is, you know, when you say, hey,
I was playing somebody
your
else's
core
game.
value is learning, but when
Right.
you learn something, doesn't mean you want to learn everything. You don't want to learn things that is boring to you. Let's say you want to play a game, right? Let's say you want to play a game, for example. I can make up a game that is only nerds. Like, hey, let's play the flatland thing that we talked about yesterday. Hey, let's play the flatland game, right?
Nah.
For you, it's like, hey, it's a game, and these are the rules. But for you, it is torture.
So,
But the thing is, that doesn't mean that
don't.
it aligns with who you're supposed to be.
Right.
But because you held on to the I am, you know, this competitive person,
Right.
you bang your head against a brick wall and you keep doing it, and you wonder why it is so hard. Because for me, once you have become authentic with yourself and understand your true core values, the DDI, it is so easy. It's just like, hey, you know, you're a cake eating guy, right? And you say, well, I need to work hard on eating cake. You think about it.
No.
Do you need to work at all? I don't need to have any kind of willpower to eat. When I think is the willpower, when I'm lacking willpower, that thing just drawn me to, hey, I'm gonna.
If anything, it's the opposite. I have to have willpower to stop myself. Like, I mean, this is what's going on this month right now. We were just talking about this before we started this. I am exhausted right now because I took on a monthly challenge last month of 30 minutes of tennis, which was actually somewhat balanced. And it's paid off big time. And I just had a huge win against somebody last night that I'd never beaten before. And I feel my body's feeling healthy and good. Well, this month I decided to go and do it in pickleball. Well, now I am in trouble because I've been playing pickleball. It wasn't deliberate practice every single day because I didn't know how to do that. So I knew there was people that were playing every day, so I would just go play with them every single day. And then I get sucked into the vortex of the stuff that I love right now, and I get sucked in like for hours a day, you know, to the point in time where it's unbalanced now, and I can't stop I'm having to exert willpower to go. I swear to God, Drew, this felt like I was a drug addict tonight. Like, my wife goes, I'm going to take my son to this volleyball game. And I was dead set this morning when I woke up. I was like, I'm not playing pickleball. I was like, I know they're playing tonight down the street. I was like, I'm not going to go. I'm not joking. I swear to God, I looked at myself like in the mirror this morning. I was like, you need to stay home. Your body's sore. You need to rest, you know, like, you know, and then, so in the middle of the afternoon, I committed to this. I was like, I'm not playing pickleball, you know? And, so I was like, I'm going to go to the courts. And I'm gonna go down there before, you know, my wife gets home, before my son gets home, and I'm gonna go do my deliberate practice with tennis stuff, take my ball machine down there, and I'll call that a day. Well, she walked in and she was like, I'm gonna take my son to a volleyball game for her school, and I was like, I felt like I was a drug addict because I was like, oh my God, I can go do drugs right now, you know? I was like, oh. No, I swear to God, I stood there at the fridge. I had opened the fridge and she walked out of the house and I looked around and I was like, should I do this? No, you shouldn't do this. And I was like, but should I? I'm not, this is like a legitimate, like, and then I was like, fuck it. Let's just I can come back. I won't stay the whole time. I'll come back. I'll put Luca to bed when they get back. You know, I'll be home. Like, you know, I mean, like, like this I have to exert willpower to stop myself right now. Like, I mean, I had to pull myself out of the game.
So did you go?
So, yeah, I did. And so much so as I left, normally I'd be there for like 3 hours and shutting this thing down and texting you going, hey, can we start a little bit later or something like that? This is what the past couple months have been like. Well, I exerted my willpower and I left after like a little over an hour playing. I played like 6 games. I won 5 of them. I lost my last one. And I was like, as I was getting a drink of water, I was like, I should probably go. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And I went over to everyone I was playing with. I was like, see you guys, I got to get out of here, you know. And as I was walking out, multiple people were like, you're going the wrong way, Chris. And I go, no, I'm going the right way. I was like, I got to go home. And I was like, I have to get the fuck out of here because we'll draw you in, you know, like, and the game is calling, and you're like, God, man, I have a problem, you know. That's when you have a good problem, but like when I need to exert willpower to stop myself, you know.
Yeah. So from my perspective, your willpower is 0 and your core value is 1. You
Right.
think that, hey, my willpower only made me go halfway? He's like, no shit, you lost when you went.
Yep. Yeah. I probably still would have kept playing. Yeah. I mean,
But you're on point though. I mean, the thing is, when something is aligned with who you are, there's no need to put an effort into doing this developmental, individual thing.
right.
You don't you say, hey, you have to put work into it. It's like, what
I'm not
work?
working. This isn't
What
work.
work?
Like
What work
I
you
just
talking about?
right. Yeah. I mean,
Right? And so
yeah,
the thing is,
that
this is
work.
this is the right alignment, because if you have to work on becoming this DDI person, right, then you are
You're doing something
picking
wrong.
the wrong core values.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe you like cake, but it wasn't like, maybe you like cake, but not any cake. Maybe you like chocolate cake instead of like,
Right.
cheesecake or whatever. Maybe
Or
cheesecake give
pineapple
you
upside down cake or something.
whatever, right?
Like
So the thing is, it's more destinations to the core values that you think you want. But most people don't even get to the point where they say, I like cake, right? They
right.
say, well, I like frogs because this guy here, he said he liked the
He eats
frogs.
frogs.
But
He
but
likes frogs.
people but
My boss tells me to
they
eat frogs. The culture that I'm in, my non DDO tells me to eat frogs, and we all eat frogs, and we love
yeah.
frogs. Like this is what we eat. We eat frogs all day long. It's like this is our job, Like who
Yeah,
can eat
but the
frogs
thing is
better?
that the society, people don't, they rarely tell you the whole story. They only tell you the successes. They only tell you, because the thing is,
Right.
out of one success, there are hundreds of thousands of failures in that success. For you to stand on a 100,000 failures to have to hold up one success, and the success is what is the story that gets told. And so we look at it, hey, you ate the frog, and he have this success,
Right.
whatever, right? And to me, that's a disconnect. The disconnect is, becoming a DDI is like running downhill. It cannot be uphill. If you don't hill, you are chasing the wrong target.
Yep.
And so having the initial understanding of yourself is important. And I think this is still a and a problem we as company need to solve, because we know that, hey, Blake is a good guy. He's really a good
Yeah.
guy.
It's awesome.
I just think he just cannot figure out what it is that he wants, because right now he's conflicting with what people tell him that he should want.
Mm-hmm.
And right, because he said, well, I believe I want this, but not really that because that he what he believes. He believes it because for whatever reason people told him to believe it, and he said, that's mine, right?
Right.
But to understand that, it's hard to kind of figure out, okay, what is real, what is fake.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, thinking back to my past, I wouldn't be able to know either. I just not. I don't know about you. I
Not at
don't know
all.
about
I mean,
you. But if you think about it, before you had this experience at the foundation to understand what we're going through, if you had told your younger self to go through what Blake has gone through, would you be even better? I mean, would you even have a slightly better advantage than Blake? To me, I'd probably be worse than him. I mean, I
Yeah.
think, and to give him credit, he actually tried. It's just that I think the authenticity is eluding him right now, because it's very confusing.
He's being torn in multiple. So like I had the best example of this today. So like I inherited one more of the previous team that I inherited. There was one more person that was kind of off on an island by themselves that officially moved over to my team. And I've been onboarding him for the past 2 weeks. I've been going through all of our values, going through the why of what we do, all the stuff, getting explain first things first, getting him set up with his his core values quest, and we're going through like his values and the initial pass through them, and I'm doing all the stuff that we've done for the whole entire time, right? And today he asked me, he goes, I'm really struggling with this first things first stuff. He was like, Chris, he's from like Southeast Asia. And the Canadian team that I inherited, they're all very international, right? Like one of them was from Bangladesh, one was from like Romania, one was
and it's going to be much harder for the Asian, the Easterners to understand this, because they don't have the sense of identity.
this is what happened today. He was like, I have an ask. He was like, I really want to do this stuff, and I really appreciate you're doing this stuff for us. And he was like, and I understand what you're doing, and I agree with it. He was like, I have a whole lot of stuff going on in my personal life with like, we're moving, we're trying to do whatever. I'm worried about money stuff right now, and I need to like get really good at my job and blah 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 blah. And he was like, I just don't know that I can focus on this stuff right now. And I was like, wait. I was like, his exact words to me were, he was like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like, the culture that I come from, and this other guy on my team is from Bangladesh, and this other guy from, another country. He's like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like our primary function first is to do all the stuff that we're told to do is the right thing to do, make money, like, take care of this, take care of that, do whatever, like, be good at your job, like stuff like this, right? He was like, this is ingrained in us. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I totally understand that. I'm not saying I want you to not do these things. What I want you to do is to do them for the right reasons, and to find the right kinds of jobs where they can feel like they're easier for you. It's like, we went through this whole entire, thought experiment with him of like these are your life is dominated by urgent and important things. That's the culture that you grew up in, right? Like, I mean, that is what he's being told he needs to prioritize all day long. I'm telling you, for the first time in your life, prioritize the not urgent but important things, because that these are important. And I have a feeling that if you do that, the urgent and important stuff you'll get way better at. You'll the outcomes of what you seek will be better.
Right, because the important thing won't become urgent.
Exactly. Like it's so like the mindset, the paradigm shift of focusing on stuff that is the priority versus other people's priorities, like is so hard for people to break through, right? Like, that gap of going, well, but I have to do this stuff. No, you don't. I'm actually your boss, and I'm actually telling you, you don't have to do this. I'm actually telling you to do that. And you're going,
he
I don't know if I can, and I'm not joking. I finally registered with him. I was like, that is what you need to do. And he was like, okay, I agree. He was like, I think I'm with you. I think I understand the logic of how I get to, to take care of my family and the job and the finances I want to get to by making sure that I do this stuff first, by being a deliberately developmental individual, right? Like, you can go grind all day long. But like, he tells me I've only known this guy for 2 weeks.
I mean, what's the seventh habit?
Sharpen the saw, right?
Exactly. Like, so he's not sharpening. So he go down. I gotta chop wood. Right? Yeah. Well, how the fuck do you chop wood if you don't sharpen your axe or sharpen the saw? I mean,
right? Yeah. I mean, no, you're 1,000% right. I asked him, like, what do you love to do outside of work? And he was like, well, I like this, I like this, I like this, And I was like, when was the last time you did these things? Well, it's been a long time, actually, because I just haven't had time. I've been really focused on this, work stuff, whatever, blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're telling me you love these things and they're effortless for you, but you don't do them anymore because you can't, because these other things have, these urgent and important things have gotten in the way, right? Like, and I'm trying to tell, like, I think it's like, you and I can see this now, right? And I couldn't have seen this before either, to be honest. To be fair, like,
I can tell you, I would not have been able to be. I mean, I would do much worse than Blake, because I wouldn't even give you the time of day.
Yeah.
I mean, Blake,
like, you're nuts, man. I got stuff to do.
Okay, let me indulge this guy, and then I'll go through and see what happens. It's just that he just but for me, you probably can get me into the room for 15 minutes for you to talk to me. Right. When I was younger, I was that stubborn and hard-headed. I mean, in the most stupid way, but
you cannot get to a better me if you don't focus on you ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get there. Like, if you're always focusing on a better them, like, and a better whatever they is that you're around, like, and you never ever, like, even in any team environment, like, if you're on a basketball team and it's just like, I'm going to focus on, if I'm a Golden State Warrior and
I mean,
Draymond,
if you trying to better someone else but not better yourself, it's like you're not there. So what's the point?
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Like, I mean, it's
you cannot help anyone,
right?
Because you're invisible. You're not there. You're not even able to handle yourself in that situation where you haven't had anything to stand on.
Right.
And that's the thing that people keep dismissing, is because society and our surrounding has been conditioning us for these sort of like more of a standardized, quote unquote, mode of a dream of some sort. Hey, I gotta be this person. You can't all be princesses, right? You
Right.
can't. Somebody has to be, the maze.
Right. Yeah.
It can't be all leaders because who's gonna fucking follow you if everybody's the leaders?
That's a good
So
point.
so that's the thing, and people being told a ridiculous, logically ridiculous concept. Like, everybody can be leaders. Everybody gotta be, the boss. Like, fucking who, you're the boss. Who's the worker?
Right.
Who's the boss of? Right? If you're the leader,
Right.
who you leader of? If you're
I don't know.
princess, right? Who's the son?
Well, I actually think that everybody can be a leader, but a leader of themselves, first and foremost. I mean,
In the traditional sense, I'm not talking about your sense.
yeah. You're talking about literally having followers. Yeah.
Your concept of leadership doesn't make sense to the people who hasn't been in the company rung of the ladder, right? So the concept of leadership in the real world today, in the world that corporate world, right? It's a sense of, hey, I'm on top, and I'm telling you what I want, and you guys need to do it because I am the leader, and I pick where I go, and you gotta follow, and that is a traditional sense of a leader position, and so that's what I'm talking about, and that's what people understand. And so when you're talking about that in that sense, right? If everyone is a leader, so that's what Genghis Khan would say, hey, I'd rather have a lion leading an army of deer than a deer leading an army of lion, because all the lions say, well, if I'm a lion, why would I listen to the deer? So right, it's not cohesive, and they do whatever they want because everybody's a leader, everybody's a lion.
Yeah.
And it's chaos because they say, hey, oh, you do that, or you do this, and you have an army of lions that does shit, that doesn't do anything, and the deer can't do shit either, right? They can't even like knock the lion on the head and say, boom, you gotta go. No, because well, imagine what a deer would get if he knocks the lion on the head with and he could get eaten. And so like I said, if everybody's a leader, right, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so
except
condition,
for themselves, those deer need to know why they're in that deer group and know why they're following that lion and know how this aligns to who they want to be.
But I'm talking about the absurdity of the logic.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. You're talking about the traditional societal structures but
you're confusing people by adding.
No, I'm not confusing people because I'm saying like that is a form of leadership. Like being a DDI is definitely a form because you are diagnosing yourself. You are understanding what you care about and don't care about. And then
I don't really care to be. I don't really care to be anything other than what I'm supposed to be. Once I understand what I need to be a DDI, because the DDI said, "Hey, I'm a cake eating monster," then I'm a cake eating monster. I don't want to be a leader or whatever that people say. Hey, it's good and majestic and pride and whatever. I don't really fucking care if I'm the one of those sloths, right? I like to sleep all day. Then I'm a fucking sloth. I'm going to be a lord, and I'm a powerful, I'm a strong, blah blah blah. I don't want that because if I'm a sloth, I'm a sloth, right? I'm slow.
And there's nothing wrong with being sloths, by the way. To be clear, sloths are pretty damn cool. There's a lot of really cool shit about the sloths.
Regardless, if I'm a dung beetle, I don't fucking care. Okay, I don't care also what really kind. Cool. I don't care if people say it's cool or not. Okay, that's my point, right?
No, I understand what you're saying. You're like I don't know what's cool if I'm just I'm just being me. Like I have no idea.
Because the thing is to give up the ability to be yourself to attain the title of being cool, it's not worth it for me. You think about it, because you say, hey, True, hi, you look like you can be, in a manager position, go manage people. I'm like, can I manage people? Yeah, I can, but I hate it. I hate dealing with these issues. Like, hey, you do it or you don't, because for me is I don't like go in and sweet thing up or smooth thing out or mitigate this, mitigate that. Hey, this is what I want. You do it if you want to. If you don't, then I'll find someone else. So you say, well, and you come and you negotiate with me, right? You say, hey, what if you give me this and I will do that? I say, well, I don't care. This is what I offer. What I offer is what I offer.
Right.
Right. So you can't even deal with me. So for me, as a manager, that make me feel good because I don't have to think through the stuff. But if I have a manager, I put them under my hat. So, well, oh, fine, I have to figure out how to go. And that is just a chore for me. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to have to give up the ability, my freedom, my sense of ease for the title of a head manager or leader, whatever. I don't want,
I don't have
regardless of how
I-
much you put that title on a pedestal. I don't want it. But
but
that's the thing is
you're missing a key point to all of that though. I don't feel that way when I lead people. I actually feel very simple and easy because it's easy for me. Like
and
it's
that's my
not hard.
point. And
Right.
that's
I
my
know.
point. My point
Actually
is
I
you
enjoy
have
helping
the
them to,
gene
right.
to be in that core value, to embrace
Right.
that core value, embrace that ability to do things, right? I have the opposite core value, which is
Right.
I am this guy that is like leaving the corner. I don't need you to do anything for me. I don't need you to, you know,
I love to help people. I mean, this is the truth. Is I love to help people. Like, I mean, I love to share knowledge and I love to help them and I love
so
to
the thing is,
see
I don't
light
like to
bulbs go
help
off.
people, but I like to help humanity, if that makes sense.
You like to help. Actually, that's a really good point. So
So,
the love and work book, right? When he said, I don't like to talk to one person, I like to talk to 500 people.
mhm.
Like, and he was like, that doesn't make sense because I've struggled having one-on-one conversations, but I can talk to a group of 500 people and it feels like it's like talking to one person, for most people. Like, I mean,
Right,
so
and
yeah,
whatever the nuance of who you are as a person, you have to embrace that. That gives you the ease, right? Okay, for
right.
you, when you help people, when you are managing people and you lead people, it's easy. You have this feeling of ease for you. Okay,
Mhm.
that's what you want. That feels free and liberating. Okay,
Yeah.
that's freedom. That's peace of mind. For me, it's whatever that makes me give me that sense of peace, sense of ease, sense of liberation. That is the thing that you're giving away to claim something that you're not fitted for,
Yep.
right?
I
So
agree.
that's the thing is, if you're a leader, right, and you love it, it's great. Because I know there are people who don't. Because we're talking about the guy, you remember the guy who was responsible for like 10,000 words in a dictionary, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. From
Right.
the professor and the madman. Yeah.
Yeah, providing
Yeah.
because that's his identity. That's
Yeah.
what makes him feel at ease.
Mhm.
But that's what he does. But that's what draws him. That's eating cake for him.
Right.
Because everybody has their own piece of combinations of DNA that makes them uniquely fitted for certain tasks, certain things, certain core values, certain elements. And that's at the end of the day, it's what you need to find for yourself.
Yep.
And before you can become a DDI, because DDI should not be hard work. It's not work at all. It is
Mhm.
you need willpower to stop you from getting drawn into the vortex of
Right.
that you text like yourself, your pickleball.
And tennis. I mean, like it's the God. I'm still like I know that this is fucking like I know that this is bad this month. Like I mean, like I've never had a monthly challenge that has
But
ever
the thing is,
backfired on me like
the
to
thing
this
is, you
level.
you,
You
you
know,
say, "Oh man, this is bad," but you have this smile on your
no,
face.
no, I know it's bad in a good
it's like
way.
it's like
It's
saying, "Hey, oh Chris,
I
fuck,
mean, true. I was
I eat
the
too much cake today."
dude.
like
I mean, I've said that
like
before too. Have you never said that before? Where you're at, somebody gives you like an awesome cake and you just keep eating the fucking like a literal cake and
yeah,
you wake
yep,
up the
yep.
next morning and you're like, oh my god, I way overdid that, and then you wake up and there's your mom
And
sends
there's
you home
another
with
piece.
like like three other ones and you're like, I shouldn't do it. And then like later on that night you find yourself like sneaking over to the fridge and you're like, I mean, like it's like that right now. Where
Yeah, it is.
you're like
That's why
staring at
I
it
brought
and
it up, because that's what tennis and pickleball means to you.
dude, it is so fucking bad. So like it's bad in a good way. Like and I it's just so funny we're talking about this because it's like I know exactly what's happening and this is a good part about being a DDI, right? Like because I understand what's happening. One of my core values is balance, to balance out this, right? Like
Hmm.
and to not let myself be derailed like like poker did for me or
Right,
something like
because
that,
when
like
you are way too focused on this one particular core values,
right.
your balanced core value is suffering, and so
It
that
is. Yeah.
thing is kind of like completely out of whack, and you have to bring that back to where, hey, I gotta have some of these and some of these and some of these.
but this is why you need a compass to guide your actions, because like I knew that if I look at my compass right now and I'm like, you shouldn't do that, Chris. Like, and you know why you shouldn't do that. It's because of this, this, and this, right? And I know, right? And I do know, and that's why we're talking about this right now. But like, to your point, like there's it's I smile because I'm like, I also know that like
it's like you're enjoying it a little bit, but then hey, I'm neglecting my balanced core values and the other core values.
I'm not seeing my son as much as I want to, and I'm pissing off my wife, and I'm and I like, I mean, all these, but like, to be fair, like I was just playing for the hour and 10 minutes or whatever I was just playing. I was playing fucking great. Like, and I was like I mean, just I had this old guy who was my partner.
I mean, it's like saying, hey, I ate too much cake and there's no more room left for cookies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting really good at eating this cake. I'm getting really, really good. Like, I've found ways to like eat the entire cake, and I'm getting faster at it, and I can process it faster somehow, and then get back to eating more cake. Like yeah. Anyway, it is scaring me a little bit, to be honest with you, because I've never had a monthly challenge that has ever. This is a lesson. Don't make your monthly challenges aligned to stuff that you already know that you're addicted to. That are a good addiction, right? Like, don't make your monthly challenges ever. It should be stuff that you don't know.
I wouldn't say that though. I mean, I think
it should be completely something that has nothing that it's an unknown to you, is what it should be.
Right, because I agree, because like, you say, hey, I love cake. Let's try
to eat cake every day.
Let's try to eat cake for the next 30 days every day. Right. It's like okay, you know how we have Ash Wednesday and we have the Lent season for 40 days. Right. Let's give up. Let's give up work for 40 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I think that's cheating in a way.
It is. It is. Like I mean, I think that I cheated on my monthly challenge.
I think you did. You
did.
I
mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't challenging what I did, but it wasn't challenging. Like, it's the same. It was challenging to logistically figure it out.
Right.
But it wasn't challenging to do it. Like, I mean,
It should be challenging because, like I say, your DDI. If there's a struggle in your DDI and you have to really work on it, then it's not that the DDI wasn't, that you didn't have the enough effort. It's just that you picked the wrong core values to focus on. Yes, and I think that to me, it should be the area of focus. We would need to put it in the most, because if you solve the authenticity of your identity, then that will solve itself, and DDI is running downhill. It's just rolling downhill. There's no effort to it. I mean, the thing is, it would take you effort to stop from rolling downhill.
Well, yeah, that's this is what I'm saying. I'm having to deploy willpower. But you know what the beauty of all this is? Like, what we're doing right now is a DDI activity, right? Because like, this is being deliberate about we're recognizing what's going on in your life, being aware by writing, by reflecting, by having these conversations, by being, and then looking at your values to decide the next course of action, right? Like, I am saying right now, I will never make a monthly challenge ever again, that I already know is something that I like to eat, I will never do it again. Like, because it's only,
but it's cheating because you already know, just like I was saying, you already know that you love cake, and they say, hey, let's challenge yourself to eat cake every day for 30 days. I mean, what's challenging there?
Well, I mean, but this is upon reflection, right? Like, I didn't think that was going to happen. Like, I don't know why. I didn't even think about, like, I did not think about
because
this
it wasn't obvious. It wasn't obvious until we start to go through the experience, and then we go, okay, fine. Okay. And now that, and then we make an analogy to the cake to make it more simpler for us to understand on our first goal, versus, hey, find, I shouldn't do something that I already know that I like, right? What does that mean? Because the thing is, what we say as far as the language is concerned, it is limited in terms of what we can use to describe the actual whatever is in this real universe, right? In the real life, in the real wicked environment that we live in.
Well, I'm gonna actually throw another caveat into this. It's not technically a monthly challenge, but you should definitely do deliberate practice. Like, because I mean, Like, you know, if my goal was to gain weight and eating cake every day, I knew would gain weight and I like cake, then I'm going to eat, then I'm going to be very successful if I eat cake every single day to gain weight. Right. Well, I've been the deliberate practice of doing both of these, pickleball and the tennis, like, you know, month to month. I've gotten way better at both of these things. And I like that. But here's what I was going to say is the caveat to this is you can still make a challenge for yourself to do deliberate practice if this is something that you care about and you want to try to, you know, balance around in your life. That's fine. Like, challenge yourself to do that stuff, but don't make it your monthly challenge. Like, your monthly challenge should be something new and novel. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and you're having to just figure it out as you go, right? And you're discovering whether or not this does align or doesn't align. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, there's nothing wrong with doing deliberate practice and of stuff that you love, like, because it does have good.
And you have to be
benefits.
deliberate. You have to be
Right.
deliberate, because you imagine me, right, eating the cake. I can't eat the cake all the time, so I have to say, well, I need to eat cake maybe once or twice a week, or
Right.
3 times a week, versus anytime, every time. So I need to eat only 3 times a week. That's controlled. That's deliberate. I need to eat the other stuff, quote unquote, whatever the other stuff is, the balance equation. Like,
Right.
I didn't have balance in a certain thing, blah blah. Right. So this is deliberate.
Yeah.
Meaning that I'm not letting myself doing whatever, eating whatever cake, whatever I want, because yes, it aligns with me. But because if I don't deliberately schedule and control the portions of how much I eat,
Yes.
then the other thing can't happen. I will not be able to eat the cookies. I won't be able to eat the carrots, right?
Right.
Or whatever that I like, right?
Right.
I can't.
You will overindulge in your, you know.
Well, I indulge in one, and I would the other thing would suffer, because there's no room for cookies.
Right. Yep.
Right. There's no room for the Oreos. There's no room for the oatmeal cookies or whatever that's that the other core value that you like. So everything we do has to be deliberate, so that it is in a balanced state, right? In a balanced, more of a balanced environment where you have a balance. You have some cookies, you have some cake, you have some carrots, you have some, you know, whatever, you know, sushi, whatever it is that it represents your core value. It has to be in it. Otherwise, like I say, if you only take, like I say, I eat only the cookies, right? There's no room for cake, there's no room for sushi, there's no room for anything else. So everything we do has to be deliberate. That's why it's called DDI, right? Deliberately, developmental individual. It is deliberate, everything deliberate. And the only challenge is for us as a tool to try something unknown to see if we align with it or not. So if you already know that, hey, you love cookie, and you say, hey, I'm gonna do 30 days of eating cake and see if I can eat it, right? You already know that you can't, right?
Like, that's
so
what I said. I made a
cheating.
mistake. I made a mistake. But that's okay. I don't have to.
It's not a deliberate mistake, because you know, it's something that it is unknown to us.
Right. I didn't realize what that was, you know, what I was doing when I started this. So
it wasn't obvious.
I need to go apologize to my wife, is what I need to go do, and make sure that she doesn't hate me, because this is the bad compound effect of overindulging, you know, of not being balanced. Then it starts to affect other people.
Right, because if I ask you today, you know, how's your core values of how's
my balance?
Tennis. No, just do tennis first. It's a 10. How's your balance? Oh, it's a 5. It's like a 4. It's a 0. Right?
It's like a 4 right now. I would say it's a 4. I mean, like, I have.
And so you would rather have, like, you know, a 7 or 8 on all of the core values versus just, hey, I got a 10 on here, I got a 2 on here, right?
Other activities that I care about in my life, of being a good husband, a good father, a good, you know, even co-founder for you. Like, I mean, I've been showing up dragging ass every day.
Every day, say, hey, 9:30, okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, it just keeps getting later and later, and I show up and I'm like, I look like I'm a fucking mess. I was just pouring sweat, you know, and I'm like, I'm so tired, True. You know, like it's yeah. I mean, you're probably seeing this on the other end, going, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to yourself still? As a matter of fact, we just had this conversation before this conversation. You're like, are you going to keep doing this next week? And I go, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to finish the month. Like, because I got, 7 more days left this month. Like, I don't know what I'm fucking, it's like a heroin addict going like, well, you need to stop doing heroin. Yeah, I know, but like, I mean, come on, like, like Labor Day's coming up. I got
I mean, yeah, it's just
big
a
heroin
math
party
that
coming up,
I spent the money on it already.
Right, yeah,
Might as well.
yeah, it's already there. I mean, like, shit, like,
And then one to get, well, I still have some money in the pocket, right? Might as well use
Right.
that.
Yeah,
There's
I mean-
always this excuse, right? So that way
Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go to bed early tonight. Can I go to bed early? Or you feel
5 minutes
purged on this
early?
one? Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, the question we can leave for everybody is: are you committed to being DDI?
Right.
If that's the case, then that's step one, and then you can find a DDO after that. But
That's the first step, and it's the most important step. If you can be a DDI, figure out how to be DDI. And the DDI, like I said, authentically, DDI should not feel like work. If it does, then one of the ingredient is not correct.
Yes, you're cooking a bad cake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put it in dirt instead of flour.
Exactly. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining. That concludes our Everyone Culture reflections. So
Yeah,
looking
it's a
forward
great
to
book.
a new book tomorrow. Yeah, it's good. It's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed this one. Awesome. All right. We'll see you everybody tomorrow night.
See ya.